Hello and welcome to day 24 of Adventures in Tarot Casting, a month-long series where I have been exploring some of our many casting boards that we create. Today's backdrop is a marker painting that I did back in October of 2012. I call it the Love Note. It's based on classic tattoo symbolism depicting a hand holding something. And in this case, I have the hand holding a little love note and, you know, just little sprouts of love blossoms. They could be bleeding hearts, whatever, and a mandala on the hand. This actually was the basis for what eventually became the letter card in my Sawyer's Lenormand. Again, a hand holding a note. So I'm going to be using the Out of Hand Tarot to go with the hand. And we're going to do a 3-card spread, and we're going to do some Lenormand on the sides and some portals up here. Just a little quick one today. I actually woke up, I have a pretty bad kink in my neck, but I still wanted to do a board for you, and I wanted to, you know, I committed to the series, so I'm here. And we only have a few more days left, so if there's one of my boards that you have seen that you would like me to demonstrate, please, please, please let me know in the notes. And if you're stumbling upon this later in the land of YouTube, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you've been enjoying this series. And yeah, let's just get to it, right? So we're gonna do like a 3-card spread, and I'm gonna actually build upon it. And the idea, I think, with this one is just kind of, how can we deliver the message of love, right? Like, how can we integrate more love into our daily lives, our daily routines, especially right now in the world where every time you turn on the news, it's just reports of chaos, reports of just bad. It's also like all we talk about. And I want to get back to a space of just love. I know that there's bad in the world, but there's also so much good. So how can we deliver the messages of love in our daily practice, right? And just our daily interactions. So let's see what the cards have to say. I'm going to cut the deck. And the first card we have is Temperance. My deck is upside down. Let me do that. So Temperance, the 2 of Swords, and the Devil. So now I'm sure you're going, okay, how's Jamie going to spin this into delivering a message of love, right? Well, seeing this, I can see the issues, right? I see that we've been out of balance for a really long time, and we need to find that flow. We need to find out, while there's things going on, there's also like, we get to put what we want into our mixture, right? Yesterday I was talking a lot about temperance in an IGTV live that I did, showcasing some of these cards. Actually, I did go over both of these cards, the Temperance and the Devil. And the Temperance card is like that moderation, that flow, our balance, right? So how can we deliver the message of love is finding our own flow, finding the mixture that works best for us. Like what love looks like in my daily interactions may look completely different than you, especially if you're not overly emotional. I tend to be a little bit more analytical, so my language of love is way different. You know, my gifts sharing with you is creativity, art, doing these things, showing up and doing what I say I'm going to do, finding my own internal balance in order to share it. And then it's followed by that 2 of Swords of being like, well, making choices, right? Like figuring out what distractions we wish to take, and, you know, if we're working on something, to be derailed. Like, you know, if you're in a project and the phones are always at our hands, like maybe we need to put the phones down, because they are a direct access to these demons, the devils, the things that we seemingly are addicted to. Like, I can't even tell you how many times a day I pick up the phone when I don't want to, when I'm scrolling, and then I realize that I've been doing it for like 20 minutes. Why? You know, so it's like finding the balance and putting limitations between what actually requires your attention and what doesn't, and being able to find that calm, quiet space so that you can examine what love looks like and what joys you want to bring into your life. And I know that that just seems like just so much, right? Like the Devil showing up as like in this conversation, you know, we're going, okay, we need to moderate and we need to be quiet. And the Devil's like, yeah, but do we really? you know, like, this is part of life. Like, we need to experience the bad. We need to walk through the flames and walk through the fire in order to get through it. You know, I just finished reading an amazing book. I know I mentioned it earlier in the series, called The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck. And she takes us through Dante's Inferno. And the only way to get through the hell that we're experiencing is to go through it. We cannot rise above it. We cannot elevate ourselves out of it because it doesn't do us any justice. So we need to be able to walk through it, right? And sometimes it's finding our own internal silence and finding that the decisions that we're going to be making need to come from a space of authenticity and internal balance, because what we're facing is, it's probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, right? So I'm going to bring in some Lenormand so it can add to this conversation. And also, I think about it too, like, when we're going about love, and I was talking about our love languages looking differently, like, right now, maybe the devil's showing up and showing you, like, hey, what you believe is actually something that is for your own good isn't really. Maybe you need to examine, and that's where it's like we can go back and forth with these cards, right? And I see the Two of Swords as needing that calm space so you can think. I always think of my friend Melissa Sanova. She had once said that the card was like the shut the F up so I can think card, and I just always think of that. And it's kind of like we need to limit those distractions, right? And in that sense, it's self-love. Being able to be like, you know what, these are my boundaries. All right, Lenormand. And we're going to do 2 on each side. So we have the moon. And we have the clover. I'm going to do them like this. And then we have the stork and the bear. And so we're going to do that and that. So seeing these, flanking this conversation, you know, bringing in the, and I'm going to read them this way, and then these two together. So it's like the moon is our spotlight on our reputation, like what it is that we are really focusing on, like in this cycle. And then you've got the clover. It's like, okay, it's a lot of little growth and opportunities coming up, but it's fleeting, right? And so the stork is saying, well, what are we moving away towards? What are we moving forward? Like moving forward, facing some new resources perhaps, but like moving away from the reputation. And I know there's a lot of talk about the decline in social media engagement, and I think people are just exhausted, right? We're exhausted because of this, because of constantly picking up the phone and scrolling and allowing these interrupters to, you know, blurt in. I think a lot about how this is the third person in the room. If you're in a conversation with somebody, why does this person get to butt in whenever they want, you know? So it's like limiting our distractions, finding the space of balance, and being able to see what we're addicted to for what it is. And it's like part of the shadow. So why are we paying so much tribute to this shadow, right? Is it our reputation and we think that we have to do this in order to keep leveling up? Or is it we think that these are opportunities for our own growth and our own resources? And while that may be, we still need to come back to center and find that space of calm, because how can we share love? How can we be in this space if we don't even honor our own boundaries? So I think that this is a giant love note from the universe saying, hey, right now, you got to examine what's going on in your own life before you can like start sharing with others. I get that. I totally do. And I'm going to bring in some animal portals for the 4 points to kind of give us little parting thoughts, points to ponder. So we have the bear again. And in this case, when I see bear in the animal oracle, not in Lenormand, I think about, what are you protecting? What is sacred to you? Where are the little babies in the cave? Like, I don't know if you can see, if it'll zoom in. There's like some tiny little baby bears in the back of that. So it's like, what are you protecting? And does it need to be shared with the world, right? And then we've got the praying mantis, which tells us to be still and wait to strike. And then we've got the lightning bugs, which is just pure magic to me. It's just pure magic, and it whisks me back to days of when I was a child. So it makes me think about, what are you illuminating? Where'd your magic go? You know, did you put it in a jar and leave it on the table and forget about it? Or what is it that you are culminating, right? Like, I love the idea of lightning, fireflies and lightning bugs, because they make me think of the magic that we have around us. And we have the squirrel. We've had this one before. And the squirrel tells us to kind of reach for what it is that we want. So reach for that magic. When you find your calm and your center, you'll be able to put yourself out there. And things are changing. We're in a new cycle, you know. So that's a way that you can build upon this, build upon a 3-card reading with some other voices from different systems. That's been the whole idea of my series, and basically my practice is to intermix systems so that I get a bigger conversation, and it helps me get out of my own box, you know. So I hope you've been inspired so far. Let me know in the comments how any takeaways from these videos, or just kind of like if the reading resonated, or if you have anything to add. I'm here for the conversation and the community that we're building. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you again for being part of this series, and whenever it is in the time and space continuum that you are seeing this, welcome and thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.